Hello. Hello. Welcome to day 17 of our daily streams. That's crazy, dude. The fact that we've been doing this 17 days in a row, consistency OP. I love that it was literally started 17 days ago, and now together we're figuring out what it should look like. There's no top down plan, right? It's all bottoms up, which is we are trying to figure out what do people like, and we are playing along with that, right? Today's stream is going to be a very interesting one. I say that every stream because it is so, right? We've just started. Every stream is interesting because there's so much we can do. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about NFTs. We're going to be talking about, for beginners, how should you think about NFTs, right? You might have seen hundreds of projects by this point. You might have seen hundreds of designers on Foundation, Opensea, and you're like, dude, can I do that? That you might be thinking that if you're an artist. Should I buy these? You might be thinking that if you're a collector. What the fuck are these? Is what you might be thinking if you're just a newbie in the space and you're trying to learn more. You're trying to educate yourself. Today, hopefully, for all of those people, for all of you, we'll be able to talk about those things. I do have my Bitcoin beanie on today, right? We've got a Narangi Bitcoin beanie. I don't have my glasses. I don't know where I kept them. Oh, there it is. Okay. We'll get into this in a bit. We'll get into Chashme mode. But before we get into that, hello, Shubham. You are the first comment. What's up, Shubham? I don't know what happened to my size of these comments. Yeah. What's up, Anirudh? What's up, Sahil? Hello, Shubhank. Anirudh marked attendance, bro. 100%. Late stream. Not exactly, bro. Not exactly. I will say this though. I literally, so last night I was up. I was up late last night, probably till 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. I woke up. It is Saturday, so you can't blame me for this. I woke up at, okay, I'll tell you time over here. I woke up at 4 p.m. I had 10K designers class today at 5:30 p.m. I finished that at 7:30 p.m. and then 7:40 p.m., which is right now 11:11 p.m. We're here. So amazing day, bro. I like that I got this huge jump start to the day. So I'm really really in flow right now. Although I really should I should eat my not bro. I mean, people who know me, then they make fun of this. I do intermittent fasting, but then every once in a while I use intermittent fasting as an excuse, and people are like, "Bro, you haven't eaten." I'm like, "Yo, intermittent fasting." Namaste Sankarshan. What's up, Vaibhav? Yeah, so I was just in 10K designers class, so a lot of people just hopped on from there to here. What's up? What's up? Yeah, dude, the class did go a little longer. We'll talk about all of this today. We will talk about, man, I don't know what's happening with my comments. Thank you, bro. Thank you, Chikara, bro. Let's get started. Today, we are going to be talking about NFTs from the perspective of designers, from maybe not so much for developers, maybe we'll get into that, but in general, creators, and also for collectors. Okay, so let's jump into it. As usual, we will do a quick Twitter check, right? Just to let you all know, it is a Saturday, so not planning to have a very very heavy stream today, right? We're just going to generally talk about a couple of things. You will learn quite a bit from this, hopefully. But yeah, today is a very chill stream. I will say this also, compared to yesterday's stream. What a crazy stream we had yesterday. We're already at 2K views. um, this is what we did yesterday. We talked about how you should not buy Dogecoin. And yo, we had so many people in the chat emotionally invested in Dogecoin. Here, let me just tell you, okay? Average Dogecoin enjoyers yesterday did not have a good day at all. Doge is obviously better. Undisputedly. Let me just quickly show you this. Imagine your surprise when you open Twitter and you see some dude with a turtleneck and green glasses telling you made a big mistake when you bought Doge. Right? So people were really. So we had like 200 people, I think, at one point watching this. They showed up in a lot of people's recommendations. And it was really funny, bro. So if any of you discovered the channel through this, welcome. Thank you for joining in. For you, maybe day 2 of the stream. For me, it's day 17. And for a lot of people here, the regulars, today is day 17. Here's the thing with NFT projects. The first thing you need to understand is it is still the early days. Right? That's the number one thing you need to understand. You might be thinking, hey, it seems like I'm really late in this. Whether you're an artist, collector, creator, you might be thinking, dude, there's people way ahead of me. Yesterday, I was doing a quick check. I was like, dude, fuck, like NFTs are crazy. I was like, should I have made some secondary sales by now? All these things going on in my mind. Dude, I opened the calendar. I was like, when did I buy my first NFT? And it was literally a month ago, dude. It feels like it's been a year, right? Literally a month ago. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'm a noob. I am a noob. I don't know too much. I was like, let me check some of these other people who are in NFTs who I follow. And I went to their profiles and I looked at the NFTs. A lot of them have recently gotten into the space. A lot of them got into the space in March, right? There's, of course, a lot of people who got into it way back with, let's say, something like Crypto Kitties or Crypto Punks. But yo, we're all figuring this out together. So don't feel like you're late, is all I'm going to say. We're going to talk about a few projects, right? We're going to talk about some top NFT projects today. I'm going to also talk about some projects that I have invested in. And we will also talk about platforms today, right? Most of you have probably heard about one or two of these, but maybe not all, right? So we will talk about a couple of platforms, starting with Foundation. Okay. The thing with Foundation is Foundation has a lot of big time, big name drops happening. So, for example, just yesterday, we had a Snowden NFT. No, not Snowden. What am I? Yeah, it was a Snowden NFT. Snowden NFT sold for $5.4 million. It was more than 2,000 ETH. Okay, and that happened on Foundation. So let me quickly open that for you and show you. It was called Stay Free by Edward Snowden. Very interesting story. We can talk more about this as well. But basically, it was not bought by one person. It was actually bought by a DAO. It was bought by this thing called Pleaser DAO. A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization, right? So basically, a bunch of people pooled them ETH together, set up a DAO, which is almost like, you can think of a DAO as registering a company but in the cloud, roughly like that, right? They set up a DAO and they bought this piece for 2,000 ETH. For whatever reason, this is not loading for me. Maybe Foundation is down. Oh, Foundation is down. Okay. We'll talk about this maybe later in the stream. But Foundation follows an auction model. So when you list on Foundation, you can list it and then you can set a price. And when you set this price, it stays on your profile till somebody makes the first bid, right? So I'll show you one example of this. We'll talk about currently offline. We'll talk about Foundation in a bit. Foundation seems to be having a bit of server issues. But Foundation is an auction site, right? Most designers, they're like, bro, I'm looking for a Foundation invite. Dude, fuck Foundation. If you're starting out in NFTs, you don't want to come on Foundation. Foundation is for auctions, right? Foundation would be great if you had a very, very engaged audience waiting to buy anything that you put out. Then you could do Foundation drops. You could do 2 drops every week. Keep doing that, right? Build up some hype, build up narrative. But Foundation is not the best place for people who are starting out. And I see a lot of people making this mistake. What usually ends up happening is you either don't get any bids and that demotivates you from, making NFTs, or you get your first bid, right? Your first piece gets sold, but then you don't know how to sell your second piece. It just stays listed. You do your third and fourth and nobody's buying. And you're like, dude, why is everybody doing so well on Foundation except for me? The point is, Foundation is not where you should go if you don't already have a very, very strong, here's the word for it, collector base. Collector base, right? Let's talk about that for a sec. Let's zoom out, right? This is not a new thing, collector base. Let's zoom out to Raja Maharaja के टाइम पे, right? Raja Maharaja के टाइम पे, वहाँ पे उस टाइम पे, right? We're talking a few hundred years ago, few thousand years also. The way artists would operate is artists would typically have patrons. And these patrons would either be Raja Maharajas, right? Kings, or people who ruled the kingdoms, or it would be wealthy merchants. So when you had the Renaissance, right, it was wealthy merchants who were supporting artists like Da Vinci, Picasso, maybe. But basically, the collector artist dynamic has always been that of a patron and an artist. So patrons are typically wealthy individuals or entities or corporations that fund your art, right? Now that has been the scene forever. Like Maharajas, like kings, they would have private collections, and there were certain artists that they would really like, and they would commission those artists to make those portraits. So let me actually show you that. Let's make this a bit more of a visual stream. Back A couple years ago, not too many years ago, I went to this festival called Magnetic Fields. And I've been to Magnetic Fields maybe 3 times now. Right, so you can tell that I really enjoy it. I went to Magnetic Fields, and Magnetic Fields is, I'm telling you a story. I'm going to come to the point. Okay. Magnetic Fields is this music festival in Alsisar in Rajasthan. Bro, Alsisar. Most people did not know what Alsisar was. I told my Mossy, I was telling her, she's like, why are you in Delhi? I'm like, I'm going to Alsisar tomorrow. She's like, what is Alsisar? Where is that? And she's like, dude, are you seriously going to go live in the desert? It's fucking December. What are you doing? I was like, Mossy, chill. It's okay. I know what I'm doing. Anyway, Magnetic Fields is a music and art festival that happens in December in Rajasthan, in Alsisar. Alsisar Mahal. Bro, Alsisar Mahal. What we're going to do is we're going to play this video for you to get an idea. And then I'll talk about how art and collectors, how that dynamic works. So let's play this. I don't know why it's lagging though. So let me try finding this video otherwise. Magnetic. Alsisar Mahal. Alsisar is a very, very small town in Rajasthan. Alsisar is so small, they have only one ATM in the whole place and it doesn't even work most of the times, right? Very small village. However, every December, for 3 days every December, the whole place gets transformed. Not the whole place specifically, but specifically there's this place called Alsisar Mahal. It's a super old, about 300 to 400 years old Mahal. And the story is insane. So, okay, let me play something for you to get the vibe, and then I'll tell you the story, and then we'll talk about how this connects to NFTs. Let's play 2018. I think I was there in 2018. Let's play this. One second. So there will definitely be a copyright thing. So this video will not be monetized, but it's worth it for playing this. Okay. It is lagging, but let's just let it play for a bit. So, what you're seeing here is Alsisar Mahal. For 3 days in a year, Alsisar Mahal transforms into a huge, huge music festival. Inside this fort, there are 3 stages, and with multiple secret stages that happen only at night, and you have to go find them in the palace. It all happens here, and similarly to the side of this, there's an open desert, jahan pe you set up tents, and you literally stay in the tent. Of course, there are other accommodation options, but they're also all tents. There's these shamiana type things with beds in them. So literally, I've been here 3 times, and each time we stayed in tents, bro. And it's really fucking cold. It's really cold at night to the point where you don't want to sleep because you're like, hey, I can't sleep. It's too cold. So you go and party. And then when you come back at 6 a.m., from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., you can sleep. But after that, it gets too hot because it's in the desert. killer. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is this music festival started because the prince of this palace, okay, he inherited this palace from his parents when he was 25 or something, when he got married. Imagine inheriting this entire palace. And this dude, of course, really, he's a young dude just like us. So he said, what if we did a music festival? And the story goes, apparently Mick Jagger Mick Jagger came to visit the Prince of Udaipur, I think. And Mick Jagger was staying with him. So this guy, they're friends, the Alsisar Mahal wala king. So they were like, come to Udaipur, meet Mick Jagger. They met Mick Jagger, and basically in the conversation, they were like, yo, we should do something together. And they were like, yo, what if there was a festival? And so that was the idea. Of course, Mick Jagger didn't. It's not Mick Jagger's thing. But they said, let's do something. So literally the Prince of Alsisar, along with Wild City in Delhi, they organize events. They've been doing this festival for a couple of years now. And it started as this very small thing. And now it's still super small. It's only a few thousand people, I think. But beautiful, okay? So my point is, when I was there, I saw these Shekhawati, these paintings, okay? I was in the lounge for this palace. And there are these paintings which are hundreds of years old. And it's these, not just kings, bro, not just kings, but kings, princes, kids, like the princes, the past, the entire generation when they were younger. There are these huge portraits. Like imagine a 6 feet portrait or a 5 feet portrait. How that works is kings and kingdoms, they've had these artists in their patronage who they commission to do this kind of work, right? And it's not just these visual artists like paintings and stuff. It's visual artists, sculptures. Let me show you a little bit of Shekhawati architecture since we are going into this. It's beautiful, bro. It's beautiful. So not only would you have this, but each of these, right, this entire thing here, it's all hand painted, right? These murals are all hand painted. So the relationship of artist and collector for the longest time has been this kind of relationship, which is artists don't really have to worry about making money and building their personal brand or anything. It's just you have to find patrons who really like your work, even if it's just 2-3 people. And they now give you these opportunities to be able to do this different stuff with their art, right? As a kingdom grows, so do your opportunities to do more art. Maybe you have a new kingdom, maybe you have a summer palace for your one of your wives, right? Or you have a different this thing for your darbar. Or you're like, hey, I want to paint the Sistine Chapel. They're like, yo, we currently have the Sistine Chapel and we want to paint a huge mural on top. What do? You find the artists you trust and you say, this is my vision, this is what I want, this is the space I have. Can you do something? And I will support you with everything you need to make this the best work you've ever done in your entire life. Let's load one of these images. Not so high res, not able to see. Right, so that's the relationship for most of history that artists have had with their patrons. Today, somehow on the way, we lost that. We lost that relationship with digital artists specifically. Because digital artists, you are still roughly doing this, which is maybe you're freelancing. You're doing this with clients. You're doing this with companies you work at. Maybe it's full-time, maybe it's part-time. But we lost that relationship because, I don't know, right? It's very different from what it used to be. I'll just say that. With NFTs, you now have this opportunity of building up a collector base. We're calling it a collector base, right? These are your patrons, right? We've of course had things like Patreon. But the thing with Patreon is they are paying you this, right? Your patrons pay you on Patreon, but they don't get anything other than just the entertainment or just the information. If I find an early creator, if I support a creator and he has 3 Patreon subscribers and I pay him $100, I do not have that expectation that these $100 will become $100,000 that I can cash out later. Right? It's a transaction. It's like I'm paying you this, you give me your content, and that's it. That's what Patreon is. However, with NFTs, we have this opportunity कि हम collector base बना सकते हैं. We can find these individuals not just in India but everywhere in the world who are interested in our art. They will buy not everything we make but some things that we make. And now you have this collector base, and privately you can now build relationships with them. You can build relationships with other collectors in their network. How does that connect to NFTs? Most people that start on foundation don't see this big picture, right? Most people who start on foundation, they're like, dude, let me get some quick money. People, bro, log kisi ke liye bhi paise de denge, bro. Let's just do something, right? They're trying to get into it out of FOMO for the short term. And, collectors realize that. Collectors today have realized that, dude, we want to support only genuine artists. Only genuine artists, right? As a collector, you want to feel like when I'm supporting someone, their life became better because of it and they were able to create more art. Right? You don't want to feel like I'm supporting this pump and dump scheme and few months from now this creator is going to disappear. They want to build a lifelong connection saying that, hey, we will support your work, right? Why? Because we get enjoyment out of it. And not just enjoyment, but we support you early and later we will be able to liquidate. We will be able to sell some of these portions. And when we sell, we will make money, but also the artist makes money. So for every secondary sale that happens in the NFT market, the artists also make money. And this percentage can be set, by the way. So that way, foundation is a terrible place to start. Foundation is good if you already have a collector base who wants to bid on your work. But most people who are trying to get into NFTs today don't have that collector base. And you have to build it. So let's talk about some more platforms now. Opensea is one of those platforms, right? Opensea, probably my favorite because it's the simplest, it allows you to do the most, and it is the largest one. So with Opensea, one thing to also note for all the folks who are thinking about gas fees, on Foundation, every mint that you do, every single piece, you have to pay gas fees. And Foundation has a really high, this thing that they take from you. I think the transaction cost or whatever, the platform fees they take, I think is quite high. On OpenSea, it's free to list your work. You have to pay once, right? You have to pay once to initialize your profile. But after that, every subsequent work you do, you don't have to pay a gas fees to list it. However, you do have to pay gas fees for certain things. And when it sells, OpenSea takes, I think, about 10% of each sale. But this is now an opportunity for you to build a collector base, right? Let's start with some projects. Let's look at some projects and I'll give you an example. I'm going to go to my profile. You will be able to see the NFTs I own, but I'm going to just jump into one to give you an example. Man, I don't know why my Chrome is lagging so much today. Okay, we'll jump into it in just a sec. Some comments meanwhile. Genuine in the chat, right? Crypto is one of those games where there's a lot of scams out there. And the way you avoid these scams is you have to look for a signal of genuineness. Whether that's, the creators behind it, whether that's the vision, whether that's the utility, whether it's who else has invested in this, whose word I trust. Or if you don't want to just trust random people, you can also just verify on the blockchain. So with art, imagine if you had commissioned an artist to do a painting and now you want to sell it. What value do you sell it at? Let's say you come to a mutually agreed, you're like, I'm going to sell this for 10,000 rupees. And you sell it for 10,000. Now, that person, when they want to sell it, what will they sell it at? Right? What if they lie and they say, I bought this for a lakh? You have no way of verifying. And imagine if this chain becomes longer. It becomes 10, 20 people or 10, 20 years. NFTs, since they're built on the blockchain, help you verify these past records. They let you see provenance. What that means is you can see where this came from, who the artist was, how did it exchange hands, this individual piece. You can see who are the other collectors who have bought stuff from this artist. You can go to those collectors' profiles and you can see what are the things they have bought. Right? You might discover new projects this way. And you can now make friends because of this. You can now reach out to artists and say, hey, I'm planning to buy one of your works. Can you tell me more about this? And they would be happy to engage. You can reach out to other collectors saying, yo, I saw this same piece in your collection. I have one as well. What are you thinking about these days? Right? What are you doing? So these NFTs then become a way to form relationships. That is what most people are missing out on. They're like, it's all about the transaction. It's all about the sale. It's not. It's about the relationships you're building. Artist to artist relationships, artists to patrons, patrons to patrons, collectors to collectors. All of these relationships is what you're building. The art is just one part of it, right? It's the relationships you build. Same with communities. Communities that you're a part of, it's not about the content, or the content is what might bring you here. Let's talk about the bro community. It's also the people you're meeting, right? We're all learning this stuff together, but you now have the opportunity to talk to other people who are interested. The people in the chat right now, a lot of you recognize these faces. A lot of you are now in the DMs on Discord, or if not in the DMs, you're just chatting on Discord, right? That's how you make friends. So the community then becomes secondary. It becomes the relationships you build. Very similar with NFT art, right? It's not about the transaction, it's about the relationships. Let's jump into this. I'm going to talk about CryptoSergs because I got some yesterday. But I'll talk about one example of this. Let's talk about this Gucci Serg that I bought yesterday. Now, CryptoSergs is a project, right? Let me first tell you a little bit about the project so you're not totally confused. On Foundation, typically you see one-off pieces. OpenSea lets you create collections. So let's say you want a theme collection. Let's say you want to create some kind of trading cards. You can say that, hey, there are going to be these many trading cards. This is my theme. And you can even give it certain properties, right? So CryptoSergs, for example, this project, been around for a good amount of time. It's really popular, right? There are 287 owners, people who own Sergs. There are about 800 items so far. There will be a total of 1,111 unique Sergs. So right up here, you have some level of transparency. You can see who else is in. You can look at the history. You can look at how this project is performing. So suddenly, it's not just art. You can also get into the numbers if you want to. Right? You can deep dive and you can actually do some analysis of average price, volume traded, what were those peaks. You can start doing those kind of analyses as well. Let's talk about how you would evaluate something like this. Number one thing to note with NFTs, evaluating NFT projects, is only buy something if you really like it, if you really like the art, right? In the sense that the price is definitely one thing, but get it only if you kind of like it. You're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Or you feel some kind of way about it. This, by the way, a bit of an alpha for you guys. This is really cheap, by the way. If you look, we just saw the average price, it's 0.17. And this is selling for 0.039. So wouldn't be surprised if somebody scoops this up very, very soon. This one as well is 0.04. So what happens is now this is an open marketplace. So when I go and view all these projects, I can see everybody who's bought them, sold them, whether there are unsold ones, whether there are people who are reselling. And I can just like sort by high to low, low to high, highest sale. Right. So let's look at some of the expensive ones in this. project. 69th, right? This one. Let's talk about this for a sec. Now, why is this 69? Why is this worth $69? Why is this worth $160,000? Well, number one, the very simple way is it's because they listed it for 69, right? When you have an NFT on OpenSea, you can list it for whatever price you want. This person listed it for 69. However, if somebody buys it, you can't say no. So you will have to sell it, right? So let's look at the history of this piece. It was minted a month ago by CryptoSergs. It was sold to do my own research for 0.03 ETH. Somebody named CryptoPercent made an offer for 0.12 ETH, which wasn't accepted. So that offer expired. It was then listed for 0.5, right? It received a bid for 0.5. I don't know why they didn't directly buy it. But Von Mises, do you know who Von Mises is? Von Mises is a very, very big crypto whale. I'll talk about that in a bit. However, after that, it was listed for 69, right? Is this worth 69? The way to think about it is it's worth 69 to this person. It's worth 69 ETH to do my own research. When do my own research is listing this for 69 ETH, they are saying, I am not going to sell this for anything less than 69, right? However, you can still make an offer. I can make an offer for like 1 ETH if I want, but just like this, it'll expire, right? It won't be accepted. One of the reasons it's also very rare is because this has a 69 tattoo, right? So when you get into the properties here, you see that out of all 1,111 SERGs, only 0.38% of them have a tattoo, the 69 tattoo on his face. And when you calculate that 0.38%, of 1111 should be around a handful, right? There's a handful. The whole project is maybe 3 or 4 that might have this. And so far, I think this is the only one with 69 that has come up so far, right? So that's why that's how you think about price. Yesterday when we talked about price, we were talking about Dogecoin. The thing is, Dogecoins are fungible in the sense that you have my Dogecoin and your Dogecoin. Other than the price, it's the same thing, right? There's nothing special that makes it a special Dogecoin or anything. With NFTs, you're taking crypto, but you're making it non-fungible, which is instead of just looking at these numbers in my portfolio, I can look at this art that has a price. It's tied to these numbers. And so now the price is not just determined by how the market is moving, but it's also determined by how individuals feel about these pieces. So let's get into the second one here. Let's look at this. This is a Gucci Serg, a goddamn Gucci Serg. Only 0.75% of all Sergs have the Gucci trait. So if you look at the history of this, of course, a month ago, 0.08, it was listed for 3 ETH and now it's at 13 ETH. Why? Because they know it's rare. You might be thinking, bro, they've set it for 13, but nobody has bought it. The point is, dude, CryptoSergs how long has it been? It's only been a month. Imagine a year from now. Imagine 2 years from now. New Sergs are going to stop getting minted. There's just 1,111 of them. And another thing to look into it is they have a lot of collectors, but their collectors are also whales, right? I'm going to talk about that in just a sec. Let's look at one of the Sergs I bought yesterday, which is this. I bought a Gucci Serg, right? So I now own one of 4 or maybe 5 Gucci Sergs that will ever exist. I was listed for 0.22. I swooped in. I bought this. But one research that I did was I checked out the Gucci trait. And I was like, how many Gucci Sergs exist right now? And there are about 6 of these. So 6 out of 1111, what percentage is that? 0.54. So technically, I think that's it. This is probably the last Gucci Serg that's ever going to be minted. Gucci Sergs are currently, not for sale, right? However, Gucci Sergs are owned by some whales. Von Mises is a very, very proficient, very, very popular as well NFT whale. Von Mises also runs something called Rapture. I'm going to show you that in just a sec. Let's wait for this to load. Von Mises runs a literal AR, not AR, a literal virtual museum in the metaverse called the Rapture. So you can actually visit Von Mises museum in the metaverse, not just with VR. You can visit this museum with a browser and you can literally walk around. We will do that someday. We will walk through some popular NFT museums that exist, right? We might do it on CryptoVoxels or maybe Decentraland, not sure. But this person's a whale, dude. They've got thousands of NFTs, right? They've got, so here on the left, you can see what projects they've bought. So they've bought 900 of this project called Art Gods Unchained, 445 of Art Blocks. They have 47 CryptoSergs. Dude, they have 35 CryptoPunks. For those of you who know what CryptoPunks are, CryptoPunks is one of the most popular um, projects. It was one of the early NFT projects. And the floor for a CryptoPunk today, let me show you. The floor for CryptoPunk, you cannot get a CryptoPunk for less than 20 ETH. That is, how many dollars, bro? Forget dollars. Let's just talk in ETH. You cannot get a CryptoPunk for less than 20 ETH. The the most rare CryptoPunk, right? It was this alien smoking a pipe, was owned by the CEO of Figma. This one, 7804, was sold for $7.5 million, right? The most expensive CryptoPunk ever sold. However, let's look at some data here. The lowest price punk currently for sale is 19.79. This number is going to increase. Why? Because CryptoPunks literally has a Christie's auction coming up. CryptoPunk has a Christie's auction coming up, and they're going to offer 9 of these punks for auction. Why is that a big deal? It's because Christie's is a very legit auction house that's literally been around for more than 100 years. When Christie's gets involved, when Sotheby's gets involved, right? We just had the Murat Park sale a few days ago. That's on my channel if you want to see it. When these legitimate art houses get involved, what they help do is they help construct a bridge. They make the bridge between this new thing, which is NFTs, and traditional art. There are collectors out there who buy millions of dollars of art every single year, right? Why do they buy it? A lot of people say it's tax evasion. But here's the thing, if you look at the people who buy these punks, a lot of them are very, very early in the space. They literally got a lot of these punks for free. And they have been rewarded for being early and holding on to their punk now by these prices. And CryptoPunks is a very, very strong community now. Imagine being one off. So there are 10,000 CryptoPunks, by the way. 10,000. Imagine being one of this special group of 10,000 people. The reason people use this as their profile pictures is because this is now your part of your identity, which is you being a punk means something. It means you're part of this group that has been innovating in NFTs. Punks being one of the very first projects. You literally can get opportunities just for being a punk, right? Just for being a punk, which is, it's almost like you now have access to this private club which has other high net individuals in it, all of whom are pseudonymous, by the way. Most of these punk holders are pseudonymous. They haven't revealed their real identity. But all you need is that identity, right? And you can connect with them. So it's a high net worth private club. That's what punks are, right? It's, which is so different from just looking at this and being like, yo, this is just a bitmap, it's just an image, right? So love that, dude. We also have Phil in the chat. Phil is a active mod for Sergs Unite. Okay. So very interesting. So when I did that, right, when I did this kind of analysis, I found von Mises and all of this stuff. I was like, dude, there is only going to be one more crypto Serg. There's only going to be one more Gucci Serg. So Gucci Serg is an extremely rare Serg. I found this person as well, Crypto Beard, who is also a bit of a whale, maybe not that big, but they own maybe a couple crypto Sergs. I'll just say that. So what I did was I did a bit of research into who is in this. I of course joined the CryptoSergs Discord as well, and I found a bunch of very cool people that I was anyway following on Twitter who are CryptoSerg holders. So for example, Justin is the okay. I'll just show it to you. Just to give you an example of some influential Serg holders. A lot of them were using Serg as their profile picture, but then people keep changing, right? Justin, very legit dude. He was previously at Tumblr and Vimeo. He runs Lightscale Labs. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but that was a bit of the research that I did. And Justin is, number one, an extremely cool dude, right? He's a really cool guy. But other than that, he is also somebody who's very popular in the space. And he is literally building the future of NFTs, right? In the sense that if you look at the total world today, there's only a very minuscule number of people who are working on NFTs. And these are the people who are going to drive the space forward. These are the people who are going to bring this to the mainstream, right? So that was my analysis. I bought the Gucci Serg just yesterday, but I also bought this other Serg, which I won't talk too much about because we are coming close to the end of our stream. But I checked out some other rare Sergs. This is a blue Serg. There's only about 3 or 4 of them, right? It was for sale yesterday, so I was very tempted to buy this. However, bro, like I can't just buy everything I see, right? I have to say no to some things as well. So hopefully somebody's bought this, but this is a very rare one. What makes this rare also is let me show you. What also makes this rare is this property of being blue is not really talked about as a property. I don't know if that's a bug, but anyways, that's some of the psychology of what makes these valuable. Still for sale, by the way. So very interesting, right? We said, hey, it's not about the NFT, it's about relationships, right? What does that mean? Lot of influential Sergs, right? The creator of Wine, the founder of Wine, D Hoff, you can check out his Twitter. He's now doing the other app called Byte, I think. He owns a Serg, right? Lot of such examples. And the point is, it's a part of it's not just the NFTs, it's about the relationships you build. Like Phil, for example, is kind of active, quite active in our Bro Discord. And Phil discovered Bro only through CryptoSergs, right? So it's almost like this is how communities meet each other. You have one community which has their own active set of people. However, you want to make new friends. So you discover, it's almost like you find these people who introduce you to new communities. And it's almost like through mutual friends, you are discovering these new spaces. And what happens when you discover these communities? This is the real way of getting alpha. We talked about what alpha is, right? In crypto, alpha refers to any piece of information that can put you ahead of the market. So let's say you knew there was a big update for some altcoin that was coming up. That's alpha. You take an action on it, you take a decision, you buy some, price goes up, you are ahead of the market. Similar thing applies to NFTs, which is when you're in a lot of these groups, it's all on Discord, by the way. All of these communities, Discord. You will find these early communities. You will be early to some projects. A lot of people, I was reading through the CryptoSergs Discord, found CryptoSergs because Von Mises bought some. And now, since Von Mises is a very big name in the field, because he literally runs a museum, people are looking at what does Von Mises have in their collection, and I will buy based on that. So a lot of people discovered CryptoSergs through whales, right? So it's a very interesting space. It's a very interesting space. And as we start spending more of our lives in the metaverse, this is how we make friends. This is how we find other interested people who we can collaborate with. So, very interesting. With that, we're going to take a small bro, not bro, we're going to take a small bhel break. I'm going to play a short clip for you, right? We're going to just take a quick 1 minute break because I want to catch up with the chats. If any of you are checking out CryptoSergs, no investment advice, but there's a bunch of good Sergs that released yesterday, literally yesterday. So check out the CryptoSergs account if you want to buy one. Think about that. Um, we will now get into a short 1 minute bhel break, and we'll be back in just a sec. Back. That was a bit of a throwback, right? That was our old channel intro. We used to use that for old videos on this channel. Let's let's talk about a few more things. Let's talk about a few more things. Here's the scene. Here's the scene. What we're seeing right now, we talked about relationships that are built through NFTs. We talked about communities. We talked about how you having that identity of owning a punk means you have access to the special club, right? Now, a lot of you might not find this very relatable in the sense that you're like, dude, I don't know any of these people. I have no mutual friends in that connection, right? When you look at communities and it doesn't feel relatable to you, the usual reason is you don't have a mutual friend in that community. So, that bridge of understanding what that community is like, you usually miss out on that. However, let's make it a little bit more relatable. WazirX, the crypto exchange in India, is launching soon their own crypto marketplace, right? For those of you who haven't signed up on WazirX, I say this often and I will keep saying it. Use this link to sign up. I will also say this. So far, close to 60 people have signed up for WazirX and bought their first crypto because of going through this link. So I'm glad that I was able to, introduce some people to crypto. If you're interested, this is the link. I should have put it in the description of this video, but check that out. WazirX is launching a crypto marketplace, an NFT marketplace, sorry. What happens when they do it, right? A marketplace typically has buyers as well as sellers, similar to an exchange. When you start a marketplace, you have this chicken and egg problem. If there's too many buyers and not enough sellers, or too many sellers, not enough buyers, imagine Uber. On Uber, if there's too many taxis and not enough people booking them, then that's bad. If there's too many people trying to book, then you have surge prices, you can't get a taxi, that's also bad. So marketplace needs to maintain that up and down, right? The buying and the supply side and the demand side. When WazirX says we're launching an NFT marketplace, this is what comes to my mind. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, number one, let's understand more. So I joined WazirX's, they have a Telegram channel specifically for this NFT project that they're working on. Let me quickly show you that. Right. So they've got this WazirX channel, the WazirX NFT marketplace. And you know what they are doing is very interesting to observe. They are running frequent polls, which is, have you purchased an NFT before? Do you have a MetaMask wallet? Right? They are real time trying to get feedback. They are trying to understand, are there enough NFT buyers that exist in India? Because they will eventually have to make more of them. Right? So let's talk about that balance. What's the best way to get a lot of supply on your platform? It's to make partnerships. So what WazirX is very likely going to do is tie up with companies like the IPL. They're going to tie up with things that the common people in India enjoy: cricket, Bollywood, right? Maybe they go regional, right? Maybe they get into Indian music. Maybe they get a lot of Indian artists on board, like old school artists. They're like, hey, let's bring your work to this new medium called NFTs. Maybe they start working with studios, right? They're going to do whatever it can to increase the supply. Because in the end, why will you use WazirX over Opensea? It's because WazirX might have something that Opensea doesn't, right? And that one simple way to do that is just get artists that are not anywhere else and bring them to your platform. Imagine just one of those scenarios, IPL. We've talked about this, about how you don't really make money on IPL unless you're betting or you are one of the owners or sponsors or whatever. But how many of you have heard of NBA Top Shot? NBA Top Shot is, if I'm not wrong, is currently the biggest NFT project by volume. I don't own any Top Shots, right? I will say this. And, I'll tell you the reason also. The reason I don't own any Top Shots, bro, I've never watched an NBA game. It's just not my thing, right? So how do I evaluate projects is not just all the stuff that I showed you, but I also think about my interest. Like, I don't want to get into NBA Top Shot just for the money, right? I'm not an NBA fan, so I will never buy one. However, what NBA Top Shot did, NBA Top Shot, by the way, is Dapper Labs and officially with the NBA. Dapper Labs is the company that did CryptoKitties, right? So they are now doing these partnerships. Dapper Labs, anyways, Top Shot, you can buy moments from NBA history. It's like trading cards. And literally, the word crypto is not even used on this website, not even used on the homepage, right? Why? Because most people don't give a shit about crypto, bro. They care about what's in it for me, right? Most people care about, dude, can I own Joel Embiid's moment? Because there's a limited number of those, and I can sell this and I can make money later. So this almost becomes like, if I was physically going and watching these matches in the NBA, I would be buying jerseys, merch, and more physical stuff. However, now that I'm watching these online, I still have that same money that I would spend. What do I spend it on? And with COVID, that's how Top Shot was born, right? You can now buy these drops. And it feels like collecting Pokemon cards. Right? Beautiful. And you can, of course, you don't have to get ETH to buy this. You can just buy this with your credit card, as far as I know. So it gets a lot of normal people in. Now, when WazirX joins the scene, they're going to be thinking about, how can we do projects like this? How do we create our own winners in the NFT game, right? So very likely that they're going to try really hard to get companies like IPL into it. Imagine NBA Top Shot, but for IPL. Imagine you could own let's take a few examples. Imagine you could own that moment as a trading card with a video of Yuvraj hitting 6 sixes. What is that worth, right? It's difficult to say what it's worth because it's worth different things to different people, but undeniably that was a historical moment, right? He hit 6 sixes. That happened only once, so it was non-fungible, right? um, Owning that, there's a lot of cricket fans who will want to own it if you can make it a really good experience around it. And then there are other cricket fans who will say, "Oh fuck, I missed out on it." Like let's say it goes live for like $10,000 and somebody scoops it up and it's a one of one. Somebody will say, "Hey, I'll pay 11,000 for this," right? Because I really want this. They pay 11,000. It's up to the person to accept or not. But let's say it becomes 11 on the secondary market. Now somebody is going to be like, "Yo, that was a big deal." I remember I was sitting down with my family. I was eating popcorn, and it was a big deal because this was the first match I was watching with my daughter, and it was a special moment for me. I will pay a lakh for it, dude. I'll do whatever I can just to get that. So now imagine the 11,000 person gets a bid for 1 lakh. They will of course sell. But what also happens is they now have 1 lakh and they're like, dude, this investment worked out. I want to buy more. So now they start doing better research, trying to get into these other moments that are undervalued. Changes the game, dude. Suddenly, you don't need to educate people on what crypto is. You can just create this really nice experience on top of it, which uses crypto in the background, uses blockchain to maintain this ledger. But dude, that's crazy, right? Think of how many of such moments exist in cricket alone. Imagine if you're watching the match on Hotstar and you just get this pop up that says, hey, 10 out of 10 available, right? Or let's say post match when they're listening to all of this. What if there was a new screen on Hotstar where it showed you these are the NFTs you can buy from this match, and you can say these are sold out, remaining. If nobody buys this within 24 hours, it will be burned, it'll be destroyed forever. You can create these incentives and it'll be crazy, bro. Right? And the number one thing to note here, right, is the provenance. Provenance, right? I won't describe it. You can Google that. But the thing is, what provenance means is this, for example, can't anybody take the Yuvraj Medium and make a different NFT on OpenSea? What that is it's a fake, and socially it will be recognized as a fake, right? Which is, if somebody is in the market to buy this, they will do their research and they will look at the history and they'll say, is this associated with the official project? Right? There's going to be a lot of, I won't even call them rip-off projects, it's remixes. Today you'll see things like punk outfits, you'll see Picasso punks, you see Da Vinci punks. There are all these punk derivative projects. But there is only one project, which is CryptoPunks. So even if people make these, let's not call them fakes, let's call it tribute projects, or they put their own spin on it, it's still not the original. So people might still buy it, but they'll still be one of their original. So with blockchains, it helps you create that provenance, which is, you will now go into this, do your research, see the logs, and if you're a legitimate collector, you want the original shit, right? Anybody, for example, can create CryptoSergs 2 today, but Von Mises, Justin, all of DHOF, Dustin, the Vine founder, they're all not owners of that, right? I'm going to look at it and I'm going to be like, this was the legitimate one, and this was the first one, right? So even if there are 10 projects later that are something to do with the IPL, most people will still want to go with the best one, right? It's almost like when you're buying a car, you can buy any car. There's hundreds of brands out there. But buying a Mercedes says something. It says something about the kind of person you are. It's a form of self-expression to buy that Merc. Because people see this and there are certain things you're signaling. You also become a part of this Merc owners, this sort of special group. Forget that. Let's talk about Harley Davidson. Let's talk about Bullet, right? Owning a Royal Enfield. It's all these subcultures, right? If you own a Royal Enfield, I own a Royal Enfield, by the way. It's sitting in Bangalore, however. I'm so sad I can't drive it here, right? It's a beautiful white bike. But anytime I meet someone who's Enfield, we will talk about that because that's now shared culture, right? When I went to Goa, there's a Royal Enfield cafe in Goa where if you have your bike, you can go park it there. You can meet other owners. You can buy these exclusive things that they only sell at that cafe. All of this is just prototypes for NFTs, right? This is all It already exists, right? This culture already exists. It's not that we're discovering something new. It's just that we're coming up with new systems that makes this way better than it is today. All right. So man, I really love this stream, by the way. I wasn't talking about this. I mean, a lot of the stuff today we covered for the very first time. So we will cover this in future sessions as well. We didn't really get a chance to get into to go Chashme mode today, so I'll do it for the last 3 minutes. It's an interesting time we live in, right? I was looking at my portfolio yesterday and I felt something, bro. I was like, dude, I've received NFTs for free. I've received so many free NFTs. And dude, that person did me a big favor because I've received free NFTs that are now worth 1 ETH, right? That are worth 1.5 ETH. And this person gave it to me because I was interested. I was having a conversation with them. And what they basically did is they extended an invite, right? Because I got it for free. And now I am buying more of their work because, dude, this person I'm talking about, by the way, is CompuSophie. CompuSophie is, I think he's a Murat Park collaborator. I will say that. CompuSophie, dude, what a guy slash girl slash team. CompuSophie literally has given out so many free NFTs. They're all a part of this club now, and they very recently crowdsourced 186 Murat Park cubes, making them one of the top owners of Murat Park cubes. And those 186 cubes, they are now setting up a DAO for it. And I will have the opportunity, not just me, you will also have the opportunity to be a part of that DAO. But here's the thing. If you think this is only about money, you're going to have some issues. You're going to have some issues in the space. The biggest problem is if you think it's only about money, you're going to check your portfolio and instead of looking at the art, you're going to only look at the price. And then you're going to be like, fuck, I regret it. And then your emotions start kicking in and, you might do something stupid like dude, who is selling that Circ for 0.049, dude? That's way below the average price, right? They shouldn't be doing that. But the point is they are doing it. And somebody will buy it eventually. And, in the end, it's their personal decision. They might need the money for something else. But what I'm trying to say is if you are an artist who wants to sell NFTs, dude, please go buy some NFTs. Buy cheap ones. Don't have to buy the expensive ones. Go buy some NFTs. Because with that, you will now understand what it's like to be a collector. And you, as an artist, can then improve how you do things and create a much better experience. Also, there are hundreds of these out there, but there's only a few that are legitimate. And by legitimate, I don't mean scams. Of course, there are scams, but some of these projects might be worth a lot in the future, but a lot of them might not. They might not. So whatever money you have, right, I would suggest set up an experimental budget. Say, this is my budget for the next 3 months or 1 month to buy NFTs. Don't just buy the NFT, try to get involved. So DM the artist, talk to them, join their Discord, join the community, talk to other owners. And dude, you never know. We're very early in the space. It's only been a few months since NFTs have popped off. And this feels like the early internet, right? So with that, thank you all for joining, right? Today has been our 17th stream. It's honestly, it's really fantastic how we've been able to do this consistently and how how we now have an entire community around it. Because let's be honest, it's not easy making friends online. It's just not. It might be easier to make friends in school and colleagues, but the future is remote, right? So why not change how we do things? And communities are going to be a big part of that. So if you are interested in joining the Bro Discord, I will be sharing an invite link right after the stream on Twitter, right? It'll only be open for about 6 hours, I would say, right? It'll be a 6-hour invite after which it expires. The reason we're not opening it up is because underground communities are so much more fun than open communities, right? Because you have to do some work to get in. And now you know the people who are there are just equally motivated. So I'll see you all in the Bro Discord, those who are already there right after the stream. For those who are not, keep an eye out for the invite, and we'll see you in a different video or somewhere else on the internet. Bye-bye.